Hey everybody, welcome to the SimHanger. My name's Mark. Today we're retracing a flight, or at least part of a flight, that I did some 2 years ago in X-Plane. It's also the location for my first flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator nearly a year ago. Hard to believe that Microsoft Flight Simulator's been out for nearly a year, but then again, so much has happened with this sim in that time, it's amazing. Plus, not only are we going to be doing this flight in VR, but we're going to feature a number of add-ons, and they're all freeware. There's the Bush kit for the default Cessna 172 G1000 from Bagaloo. There's Quatam River, which is a free download from Ryan Flint. And to top it all off, from Bush League Legends, we've got Moh Creek Airstrip. Thanks to these developers for making this BUSHTRIP nirvana. Our route today is just a series of short hops. We're currently at Quatam River here, and we'll fly through this gap in the mountain range to Moh Creek. Once we've landed, we'll be doing a quick turnaround, and then we'll be heading to Stuart Island Airport for a final landing. With that all out the way, let's jump in the cockpit and let's get started. We're departing Quatam River, and I'm just going to backtrack on the runway, give me plenty of room for the takeoff. I just love the oversized bush tyres on this thing. It's a bit crazy, but bush flying is anyway. Have to be careful as we backtrack because, as you can see, there's trees on either side of the runway. It gets pretty narrow towards the end here. Flaps 1 notch down, ready for takeoff. This should give me plenty of room. Just going to line up here and do my final checks, and we'll be away. All my lights are on, fuel pump and pitot heater are on, that's all looking okay. PNTs are in normal range, just check the mixture, make sure that's working okay. And that I've got it correctly configured to my Bravo throttle quadrant, which it is. Push the throttle forward, hold it just for a little while, and then release the brakes, and we're on our way. Because of how narrow it is, holding those steady with the rudder. Speed just coming up on 30 knots. Not that heavy today, so 60 knots and rotate. See you later, Quatam River. Tap the brakes, stop the wheels turning. Can I see the bears? No, I think we've flown directly over them. Safe height, flaps up. Going to start a gentle right turn and then pull back on the throttle so I don't damage the engine. I'm over revving it. Magnificent lighting in this simulator. It's early morning, but the moon is still out. Just allowing a gentle climb. We don't need that much altitude. I need about 1,000 feet to clear that gap ahead of us in the mountain range. And then Moh River, it's just a short hop across the waters. This is why I love VR. It's so easy to look around and take in all the sights. My VR settings are mainly high, with a few on medium. I'm running on a 3090 and a 10900K, and it's a super smooth performance. The external shots that you're seeing were recorded using the third-party replay feature and then played back in 2D. This is why I love backcountry bush flying. The views are just fantastic. Flying low and slow just seems to enhance the pure level of immersion that this flight simulator gives you. Okay, we're through the gap at last, just picking up a little bit of turbulence as we went through, but it's calming down now. The early morning sun just starting to play across the waters and the reflections. We're heading directly towards that grey mark on the side of the mountain. Moh Creek Airstrip is just dead ahead and just over this slight rise. We'll just need to bank slightly to the left to fly over it. I've not landed at Moh Creek since I installed the add-on, so we need to fly over and just recce make sure the runway's clear before coming back out again over the water and looping round for a final approach. The default Moh Creek Airstrip is quite light and white. This one's fairly dark. It's actually harder to spot, but it's certainly a bit wider than what the default one is and looks fairly even as well, so landing here should be a little easier than it is in the default scenery. Moh Creek of course is an unregistered airstrip and you won't find it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. However, because it's based on Bing Maps, there is a white strip there that you can land on, but warning, it's not very level and not very wide. Runway looks clear, we'll just turn around and head back out again. From what I've been able to find out, Moh Creek Airstrip is actually part of a logging road. So in the real world you'd have to keep your eye out for vehicles on the runway. The logging companies use this airstrip to fly in machinery and supplies, as well as for emergency medical purposes when needed. Okay, our recce's completed. The runway's clear as far as we can see. We're now turning back and going in for final approach to land. First stage of flaps now coming in. Letting my airspeed bleed off now. I've let myself get a little bit too low, lost sight of the runway. Now holding altitude. Come on Moh Creek, where are you? Ah, there you are. Flaps to full. Speed just coming down below 70 knots. Need to be careful it doesn't get too sloppy. Floated a bit more than I would have wanted to, but we got plenty of runway and flaps are now fully retracted. Everything's looking good here. Let's say hello and goodbye to Moh Creek. We're on our way to Stuart Island Airport. Airspeed now just coming up on 30 knots. Flaps down one stage. Rotate and mind the trees on the right. Once we're clear, we'll be banking to the right and heading towards Stuart Island. Safe height, flaps away. A little bit bumpy on the exit. For the pure joy of bush flying, no other flight simulator at default level can give you this much detail or realism. In my opinion, for VFR value for money, Microsoft's got it in the bag. Once again, this is a short hop, so we won't be climbing very high at all. I know at the time of recording, parts of Canada are experiencing exceptionally hot weather, but very often many of us associate Canada with snow, so let's add a little bit of snow to this scenery. You just need a sprinkling. 8.2, no, that's not really enough. 9.8, that looks good. We now have a sprinkling of snow on the mountains, and it'll make for a more interesting landing at Stuart Island Airport. Stuart Island is just down the water here, almost directly in front of us. That's Stuart Island Airport to our right, and we'll shortly start our turn for final. We're going to be going straight in. Stuart Island Airport, of course, is a registered airport and is there by default in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Stuart Island Airport in this flight is default scenery. Flying this short bush trip in VR is just amazing. I'm in the Reverb Pro, and I'll shortly be getting a Pimax 8KX with 200-degree field of view, so I look forward to trying that out in the near future, and of course I'll be bringing you my opinions and reviews. The Pimax, of course, is an enthusiast level VR headset with some unique features. We're now on final, runway dead ahead. Snow on the runway, a bit odd, it seems to end in a straight line. I'm going to plan for a little bit of a long landing and land where there's no snow. Sick bags away and fasten your seatbelts, please. Welcome to Stuart Island, and a sprinkling of snow about on the ground. Was I a little close to that billboard? There's been an explosion of freeware for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Not all of it is great, but a lot of it is of a high quality. And the scenery I've used today, well, it just enhanced the whole experience. These short hops, well, they're one of my favourite bush trips. Do you have a favourite bush trip scenery? Or perhaps a route or region? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know and give it a try. We're always on the lookout for some more excitement. Well, everybody, we're down and done. Thank you very much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you along for the ride. Stay well, look after yourselves, and bye for now.